Hello everyone, my name is Sage Cantini and today I'll be discussing the disciplinary perspectives. To start off, I am an accounting major and a business admin minor, but for the sole purpose of this presentation, I'll mainly just be focusing on accounting. So what even is accounting? Accounting is the process of recording financial transactions obtaining to a business or individual. The accounting process includes summarizing, analyzing, and reporting these transactions to agencies, regulators, and even tax collecting agencies, or even to potential investors. So accounting is broken up into two parts. The first is tax, the second is auditing. Tax is a structure of accounting methods focused on taxes that really relate to individual or corporate, and then the appearance of these public financial statements. Now for auditing, auditors examine an organization, or individuals in some cases, their financial records to determine if they are accurate and in ordinance with the new laws and regulations. Now, not everyone gets audited, but just for example, if a small business has $1,000 revenue and then next year they have $10 million, obviously something's going on, and the auditors will come in and making sure that everyone's on the same playing field and making sure they have ethics and not just cooking the books. So this presentation was actually really hard for me just because accountants just stare at 2-3 screens every day and just file taxes, performing audits, and there's really no taking time to step back, especially during tax season, to actually know where the money's going towards, or just having an overall purpose. So April 15th, it's known as tax day, and you'll hear adults of all ages moan and groan about the day, saying they owe more money to the government. And the laws and regulations are constantly changing. So accountants ask two complex questions. The first is, how can businesses and individuals practice ethics? And how can individuals still flourish while programs have enough funding? So everyone, doesn't like paying taxes, but there are plenty of benefits. And some of the programs, which we'll discuss later, are defense, security, social security, major health programs, low-income assistance, and even education. And just they ensure roads, parks, firefighters, and police officers are, well taken care of. So to answer the first question is, how can individuals practice these ethics? Well, businesses promote positive involvement in the community. So most businesses place emphasis on the community involvement and want to have a positive impact on the world. Whether it's raising money for charities or fundraising for local schools, businesses have a responsibility to give back to the community. Next, they develop these ethical standards. So they're making it clear that which behaviors are and are not acceptable. So if someone is committing fraud and stealing money for themselves, they will be punished by the IRS or, even within the business. And they ensure leaders exhibit proper behavior, and these behavior of, often trickle down from the top. So for instance, if your boss is committing fraud, stealing money, and paying for his personal things to the business, what allows other individuals not doing that? Or lower managers start taking money for themselves and everything. So by taking these measures to promote these ethics in the workplace, these can create a better culture, improve their reputation, and individuals that are doing something, they just get a feeling that they're doing something positive within the community. So moving on to the next question, how can individuals flourish while programs still have enough funding? Well, to start off, the federal budget. Each year, a federal budget is submitted by the President of the United States, outlining plans for mandatory and discretionary spending overall. While the President's federal budget submission kicks off the process for agreeing on a federal budget, this budget must be voted on and approved by Congress, which leads to several changes, and the final signing of the annual budget must be done by September 30th to maintain orderly operations of the government for the fiscal year. So some of these spendings are mandatory versus discretionary spending. And on the next page, here are the 2019 discretionary and mandatory spending. So I just kind of wanted you guys just to get an overall view of where your money goes to for taxes. So for mandatory, it's mainly made up of Social Security at 38%, Medicare is up there, income security, Medicaid. Now for the discretionary, obviously defense has half of the budget there, but there's still other things such as non-defense. There's education's at 7%, health's at 5%, science is at 3%. Just kind of giving you an overview of where the money goes. Oops. So the next thing is trying to produce a financial budget in favor of everyone. So they really want everyone to flourish and not sacrifice programs from another. Just making sure all programs can get the funds they need just to keep, furthering their research or even educating the youth. Education obviously needs money, for advancements in technology, and scientists need better resources or even material to, advance their studies. And then they really want to have a fair tax bracket. So I know money isn't everything, but no one deserves to be left out on the streets at night and not getting the proper nutrition. This really kind of goes, what we've been talking about in class about the oppressed. And I know that no one wants to live paycheck to paycheck. And, people want a house and, other, money that they can spend. And this really goes a lot into accounting is, setting up this fair tax bracket where individuals, are still paying tax, but they're not being overtaxed. And it's just really a lot of our money goes toward the low income budgets and, setting up food stamps and everything like that, or low income housing tax credits, everything that along those lines just to help out the oppressed. And then the key takeaways here, to allow individuals to flourish with proper funding, this really goes back to the education and, giving educators the proper resources with funding to, educate our youth. And then everyone applies by laws and regulations. So this is kind of just making sure that no one's committing fraud or hiding their money in different accounts so they don't have to pay taxes. Just setting up good business ethics for the business environment and everyone in general. And then the last is, I think the biggest one, is creating a budget and future projections. Just making sure that the budget, making sure no areas are cut and they're getting proper resources that they need financially. And then just projecting the budget for years to come. So thank you everyone for listening, and I hope that you all are safe and sound, and thank you very much.